Did you get a chance to watch Extraction 2?
Oh, hell yeah.
It's almost there. He had a real gun, like shooting at helicopters and everything on the train. Like it's there. It's getting there, man.
Yeah, those movies you can't spoil for me because we all know what's gonna happen.
Right.
Mega Robo Godzilla's gonna come out. And
what tripped me out is every time the hero gets broken, they just do a montage of push-ups, and that's how they get back fixed up. Remember Dark Knight Rises? His whole back was broke.
Hey man, them jail workouts, man. Do it every time.
This dude was dead in the river and did some push-ups. He was back.
You ain't never seen nobody come out of jail, bro? Yeah, man. The pin workout. Oh man. Well, let's go ahead and jump into it, fellas. What up? It's Three Brothers No Sense, your favorite barbershop style podcast. I am Tavares Ferguson, aka Ferg, joined my co-hosts Buff and Razi. Fellas, tell us what's on your mind.
I think what Razi has is interesting, so I'm gonna get my little stuff out the way. First off, we've been gone for a minute, so I hope all the fellas had a great Father's Day. I hope you were acknowledged like you deserve to be. Merrick Garland, what are you doing? Now, I don't want no smoke with the FBI, so I'm not going to really talk about them too much. But there was an article that came out that said that he was resistant to investigating 45 because it would have come off as he didn't want to seem partisan. And to me, that really speaks on the power of Fox News and the right-wing media. We always hear there's this liberal media bias, but I'm telling you, the right wing is right there with them. The fact that they've pushed this narrative that anything you do against 45 is partisan. Even if he breaks the law, if you hold him accountable for it, then you're somehow being partisan. Our national justice system, who we depend on to hold the most powerful people accountable, were scared to go after someone because they were afraid he was going to look partisan. But then they also try to tell us with a straight face that no one is above the law. I think we have always known that that's not true, and this proved it. So, just want to talk on it. I don't want to criticize FBI too much because I don't want any problems.
Well, I think it is partisan at this point.
You think?
I mean, because it's only the Dems are going to go after him. Like, it's just it's not the partisan that we know and love, or the version of partisan. It's like,
that's a good point.
Everybody else is just going. It's like, I gotta let him slide.
Without the Dems, nobody's going to hold him accountable.
Right.
So exactly. So it is therefore partisan, or partisan light, partisan extra. I don't know. Whatever it is, those are the only people that's going to hold them accountable.
Yeah, because worst case scenario, they could just do like Biden did and let the justice system work, and then get their son off after fact. They can do it like that too.
Yeah, that's the other point I wanted to bring up. He's catching it from both sides. Like, he's catching it from the Dems because he was resistant and going after 45. He's catching it from Republicans because they feel like Hunter Biden
got off easy.
Yes. So.
Now they're woke.
Right.
Right.
Well, you didn't let the niggers get away with it.
Yeah, exactly. We got some members bringing up how minority people have not gotten away.
Yeah, and they did like 3 months.
It was hilarious.
They had like Lauryn Hill and Fat Joe. They did like 3 months for tax evasion or whatever. They got Hunter Biden for failing to file taxes. Like, I got a fine for failing to file taxes 1 year. So, I mean, it is what it is. I don't think they're the same in that. So,
but at the same time, I think they should stick with it and getting all those black people pardoned, or reparations for being in time. Like they don't want it the reverse. They don't want, like, you know what? If he can get away with it, we should excuse the minorities as well. It's no treat them like a minority. Is basically the message I got from it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got, man, other than just to remind the listeners, make sure you subscribe. Three Brothers No Sense on any and every podcast platform you can find.
Yeah.
Okay. Razi, what you got?
Let's see. A couple things. You know, Juneteenth just passed, and I want to shout out Toyota for celebrating Juneteenth. They put watermelon in the break room and said, here y'all go. And that was it. That's all they served. So they ended up on the news. The black employees called them out and got the news out there, and they found out that at that plant the entire DEI council is white. The black I
was trying to hold my laugh in. I'm sorry,
the black employees said something when they were like, all they served was watermelon, and the DEI council laughed at them. And when they told the managers laughed at them. So obviously, you know, Toyota don't really care about Juneteenth and
listen. Well, you as I'm sure we at some point will discuss this submarine that went Titanic searching. Black people make a joke out of everything. And someone posted that their job only served them pretty much similar, Razi, except they had fried chicken as well. And black people were posting memes like me going to get another plate, knowing I'm supposed to be offended. I think they served like collard greens, fried chicken, and watermelon. Yeah, but was it good?
Yeah. Now, where did you get the fried chicken from? So, there's a couple of things I got on that. First of all, I feel some sort of way about Juneteenth and anybody that celebrates it. Here's a hot take. If you've never been in Houston, Texas, or Galveston, Texas, or the surrounding area for Juneteenth, you cannot truly appreciate Juneteenth. This is why. Because the premise of Juneteenth is that these are the last slaves to hear about it or to be recognized as freemen. So this is 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. So have you ever been to Houston in the summer?
Yeah.
It was 102 degrees on Juneteenth.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're in Idaho celebrating Juneteenth and it's a balmy 87, you don't understand what it's like to be 1865, 102 degree weather out here picking cotton, and somebody's like, oh yeah, by the way, you free.
2 years ago.
Like, you don't understand how, yeah, like you could have told us yesterday, last week, this spring, before, like there is a certain amount of heat. Like you can't appreciate how crazy it had to. I went outside Monday and I'm like, dog, I wonder what time they got the notice, because it's 2:30. It's hot as hell. When I went outside at this morning, it was 83 degrees. Hopefully they got it early that morning. It's like, did they work a full shift? Did they, did they get a partial day? Like, dog, like you can't really appreciate like being outside in this heat and realize like we don't got to do this shit no more. Like, it's a certain level of appreciation. So that's my thing. Until you come to Houston or Galveston or surrounding area for Juneteenth, hold your Juneteenth celebration. Like, you can't truly appreciate it until you're in it. Secondly, are we banning Toyota now? Because I got 2 Toyotas. We got. So we're Toyota's cool.
They'll clean it up. I
don't get it. Like, just what can we do? Watermelon.
Yeah. And that just comes from that shows why you need diversity and inclusion on any type of celebration, but especially a minority driven holiday. You should have some diversity on that planning committee. Like, I would hope a black person sitting on that planning committee would be like, nah, we're not just doing watermelon. We can do watermelon because watermelon is delicious, but
no, just don't do it. We can do watermelon Tuesday. We do watermelon June 20th. For everybody. Watermelon is new. I don't like it, but delicious and nutritious from what I hear. So you do that on the June 18th, June 20th. Not like, do they serve watermelon any other day?
Probably not.
Exactly. But nothing's funnier than, because Byron, you were talking about how black people make a joke about everything. So we're talking about it right then. Imagine we all work for Toyota and Byron's the first person in the break room. Could you imagine the emails and the text messages? Bro, have you been to the break? Nah, but what's going on? No, just go to the break room. Nah, dog, go to the break room. Like, those conversations alone are worth it. Like, I just want to, because there's some black workers, but then on the flip side, there's some white person, and it's like, oh, watermelon, great. Like, probably not even understanding
how offensive it is.
Hey, Razi, they got watermelon in the break room.
Happy Juneteenth.
They didn't even recognize. They haven't connected the dots. Hey, I brought you some watermelon. It was a line.
Oh man.
Oh my God. I just couldn't imagine like being there. There's certain points in time that to me are just like so memorable because what has to be going through your mind in the real conversations around it. Like when the best songs are written and played for the first time, like the video Jay-Z hearing Dirt Off Your Shoulders the first time. Like that's a moment where you're like, damn, like you feeling it. This is one of those moments where you're like, dog, watermelon? So I would love to have been a Toyota employee just for that. So if we have any Toyota employee listeners, please share your memes and your text message threads. We promise to block it out and not put you on blast, but I gotta hear what y'all was saying.
Yes.
So my bad, Razi. I know you were talking about the
No, y'all brought up the submersible, the Titanic submersible, and the 5 folks. I don't know if you guys have seen. They announced them as dead. And again, like Byron said, black people will make a joke out of anything. I'm just gonna say it. I really don't care when rich people die doing dumb shit.
Wow.
Well, it kind of reminds me of what one of our followers had to say about I forgot Jackie O's death. The woman who got the surgery and wound up dying. And she was making the point, albeit an unpopular point, but she was making the point that we all take risk all the time. Some risks are higher than others. And so when someone knows the risk that they're going to take but still willingly go through with it, then how sad should you be? And I would assume she would apply that theory to this. Like, I am very fascinated with the Titanic. Like, there was a point I was like in this Titanic wormhole. I was watching all these YouTube videos on it, and I came across the what you call it again, Razi?
The submersible.
The submersible. And so I watched the video on it like several months ago, long before this, and they were pointing out all the flaws in it and how many of the trips that they had to cancel at times because this wasn't right and that wasn't right. But people were still paying all this money to try and go see it. But they knew the risk. So while I don't think it's fair to go as far as to make a mockery and jokes, and admittedly, I have laughed at a couple. I don't think that's fair to do that. But at the same time, yes, as Eb Tay said in her post, we do all take risks. I just came back from Miami. I got on a plane. So if that plane had a crash, do people get to say, well, he knows planes can crash, so that's on him? If that risk is high as going deep into the unknown to try to see a ship from over 100 years ago. It is over 100 years ago, right? It was like 1923.
Yeah,
what was it?
Somewhere around there.
Something like that. Yeah. So some risks are higher than others, but I don't think we should make a mockery. But yeah, I do get when people say, hey, that's on them. They knew the risk.
Yeah. I mean, and of course, thoughts, prayers to the family. But obviously the family wasn't too worried because one of the sons went to the Blink-182 concert. So they weren't as worried either. So, I mean, it's definitely sad. I mean, let's be honest. But again, they're going to catch these jokes. It is what it is.
Yeah, and I think there's levels to the risk, and you never want to see anybody die, even if they make less than wise, unwise dangerous choices, unnecessary choices. So it's like driving, you know, to be in today's society, especially in most of these major cities, you have to drive to get around. So there's driving drunk, there's driving drunk and fast. There's having a freaking crazy sports car that goes 0 to 60 in 1.2 seconds and driving 150 miles an hour and getting like, there's a lot of different, like you wouldn't put somebody who's driving cautiously and gets in an fatal accident, the same way as you would do somebody who was drunk driving in a sports car, driving recklessly. Like, these are two different situations. Yes, they were driving. There's calculated risk. There's heightened risk. Like you said, you know, people are adventure seekers. You know, they go skydiving and do all those things. There's other ways to get, your rocks off, adventure, your adrenaline pumping. But when you take these crazy risks and something happens, my heart and prayer is always to the family and those around them. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, that's why I don't. It's a reminder of like, that's why I don't do that.
And while I did point out that black people don't take anything seriously, a lot of you white people need to be quiet, because your ancestors pointed at our ancestors as they hung from trees. You also made jokes about Trayvon Martin and signed Skittle bags from George Zimmerman, who killed Trayvon Martin. And you made jokes about George Floyd. So shut the up with any criticism you have.
The First Lady, Obama, it never stops. Unwarranted, So what else you got, Razi?
We gonna talk about the Flash?
I'm not.
Let's do it. Actually, let me jump on this one first.
Go ahead.
The hot take of the week with y'all favorite basketball player and his alleged not the baby mama.
Oh, I forgot all about that already.
Bruh, Zion Williamson. It was Williamson.
Mm-hmm.
Mariah who plays Mills. Who plays for the New Orleans Pelicans, is under a lot of scrutiny right now because his former girlfriend, whatever, has shown her displeasure with his current new situation with getting another woman pregnant, and she has been going ham, and it's just been crazy. I mean, she's had thousands of tweets from understanding. They actually shut her Twitter down because she eventually got to the point where she was threatening to release sex tapes. And she was mad because, for one, I guess he stopped paying her. From my understanding, he was paying her about $107,000 a month. And so somebody brought it up really well for me. It was like, at this point, it's transactional. It's like, if you're paid and you're accepting everything that goes with it, then it's transactional. You really can't get mad. Because she was talking about, like, I used to come to New Orleans. You used to have me locked in hotel rooms. I'm not doing that for you. Well, you were willing to do it for $107,000. And it wasn't a problem when you did it for, I guess, the better part of 2 years. And now that you're not getting the bag anymore, or somebody else got the bag, you're upset. How do you guys feel about this? Because some people are feeling her like he shouldn't have cheated on her. And I'm like, he was,
Well, I don't think they were
official.
Exclusively.
Yeah.
She was always the side chick from what I can tell. And
she was a porn star. I don't think I just want to go back and make sure people understand that.
With a very bad BBL. But I don't really think much of it, other than she, to me, has shown herself to be not mentally stable, it seems. Like the first couple of days, it was funny. It really was funny. Like, just watching her go through the different emotions and all this stuff, and her shock and all this stuff. But after about day 6 or 7, it's like, yo, enough, shorty. Like, enough. So he's single. He's allowed to do whatever he wants. She should have known that she wasn't like some main girl. They were never seen anywhere public. That's a telltale sign right there. So She knew what it was. She just missing that money. So tough luck, nigga. That's always FUBU.
Right, you got anything?
I don't have anything else to say, man. It's just like you said, Buff. She knew what it was. She knew she was a side chick. You said it was transactional. It really was. I mean, you can't be mad that you lost. I mean, it is what it is. And truthfully, the thing about what's funny to me though is she wouldn't have lost if she had just kept her mouth shut. She would have.
He begged her to shut up.
He was like, you could have still got your $107,000 a month. Come locked up in the room. You probably wouldn't have had to been locked up in the room as much because I got this main chick now. So ultimately, she fumbled the bag when she could have been living her best life and still getting the money.
Yeah. Real quick, my thoughts. He's 22. I don't know what you expect from a 22-year-old millionaire, number one draft pick in the NBA that travels the country and has his choice of women. I'll tell you this. When I was 22, broke in college and had nothing going for me, I was doing the damn same thing. Like, I don't know what you expect. Like, I would have cheated on her at 22 with nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know what makes you, I don't even gotta do that. I don't know what makes you think like this 22-year-old dude who's a king of the world is about to be faithful to me. Where they do that at? Like, I don't know what makes her think that was even a possibility. You know, she should have been like, you know, I know you out there doing your thing, you know, you're 22, but you come home to me, you put me up, you ain't doing, like, you don't be spending money on these other chicks, go do you, boo-boo. Just don't get nobody pregnant. Like, if that was a talk, that's different. I can respect that to a certain extent. And then when somebody brought up the transactional thing, I'm like, yeah, when I'm spending my money, I do what I want to do with my money. Like, if I have a private chef and I want to go to freaking Ruth Chris the next day, my private chef can't get mad at me for going to Ruth Chris. like this, I'm paying for this. This is what I'm paying for. And I'm like, the only monogamous transactional relationship I've ever been a part of is with my barber. Like, that's the only place I can't go. Like, that's the only person I pay I can't cheat on. I'm like, dog, what is she got to read the fine print. So let's keep a party going. So, man,
have you ever done that though, where you were going to your barber and you had to like go to another barber for something, you out of town, something, and you come back like a month later and he sees that, you know, wait a minute, it's not grown out enough. You must have gotten another cut between the last time I saw you.
and they move your line different from what it. And so for him, he kind of turn you around, move your head. It's like it's like the person when you're a relationship when you're cheating. She looking through your wallet and everything. So I've been caught cheating on my barber a couple of times. So, and he didn't put me on blast on Twitter either. But the Flash, real quick, Flash.
It's up. That's all I can say. It's my God. I'll give it a 5. I say I'll give it a 5 out of 10 because it wasn't a Tubi movie. It wasn't to the point where you're like, oh my God, I can't watch it. It was watchable. Right? It was, but for a blockbuster, for a summer blockbuster, when you're expecting that, when you call it the Flashpoint, which is one of the most beloved like storylines in DC history, like everybody loves Flashpoint. So when you take that, you have like this storyboard that's already set out for you, and you screw it up, it just hurts my heart. Like it was hard to watch. The CGI, I felt like I could have done better. Sophie could have done better with the CGI. It was just that bad. Like, you remember that baby that used to dance back in the day, on like the screen saver or whatever, MTV. It had a little dancing baby. I feel like that was actually better. What was that? Almost 20 years ago. That CGI was better than what they did for this. They had some babies and all that. It was horrible. The love line, or the romantic subplot that was supposed to have been there, you didn't care about because there wasn't enough time in that. It's just, oh my God, it's so much bad in there. I will say Michael Keaton and the Sasha Kali or whatever her name is that plays Supergirl, awesome job. They did a really good job. I would see them back. I would love to see them back in those roles. Not in this universe, not in with. I never liked Flash anyway. I never liked Ezra Miller as the Flash. We talked about that, I think, when we were talking about Justice League. But this right here, right here, man, it is horrible. Horrible. Ferg.
I guess it was comical, but when I think about it, I think the comedy was in how bad it was.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I thought they were trying to make a joke and comical. I'm like, no, they're serious. Like, it's just, it's the movie's almost like a satire of the Flash. Like, it's like that big. It sounded like it was like they were making fun of the Flash itself. Batman, I guess, was the best character. I wasn't too impressed with Supergirl. Maybe because how they brought her out, I was just kind of like, it was just so bad. I mean, I was just like, I forgot it was coming out, and I was at the theater. I was going to go see Transformers. I'm like, the Flash is out. I was talking about that. I want to see that. I know Razi is probably going to see it this weekend. Let me jump on it. I went to see it opening night, Thursday night.
Yeah,
it was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
It was bad. It was so bad. So bad. I can't think of the Ring was cool. Maybe.
Oh yeah, the Ring. Yeah, the Ring with the
that was the coolest part.
Yeah.
That was the coolest part. Now, Young Barry was funny but annoying.
Yeah, I didn't like that laugh. It was just, oh man, that laugh
he started off funny but became like, dude, like, you can't be this annoying. You can't be this lame.
Yeah. And that's one thing I did say. I did like the growth of Barry throughout. Like, the Barry at the end of the movie was more like the Flash that we would want to see.
Which one? Real Barry or
Real Barry? As
Barry?
As he saw how annoying he actually was, and he started growing up, and the weight of everything and he actually started to become like a real Flash. And maybe that's why they were saying they were thinking about keeping him on and continuing it, because they had reset that annoyingness of the Flash that everybody kind of complained about in Justice League and in this movie. But it was too little too late. There wasn't this gravitas from like, oh my God, I changed the world and it's gone to shit, and so I need to get back and change it back. Like, if you ever go and watch the actual cartoon Flashpoint, you'll see what I'm talking about, where this movie versus that is just totally different. Like, you don't have a feeling. I didn't care.
They changed the storyline and everything.
Yeah. Like, I didn't care if anybody died in this movie.
The only thing that was similar is they went back in time. I think that is as close as they got to,
so everything. Well, so. I mean, when you think about it, the war. So, they had the Kryptonian War versus the Atlanteans and the Amazons in the cartoon. So they had a war, but they use that as a replacement. But I don't understand why. Like, I don't get that. It would have been much cooler to come back.
Every movie has there's always like this big bad that's either starting the war or taking over the world. Like, it was completely different to me. Mm-hmm. So, but let's move on. I'm tired. I've talked about this movie more than I would like to. I'm annoyed. Sophie,
let's go. Let me go grab it.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
More rewards, more savings. With American Express Business Gold, earn up to $395 back in annual statement credits on eligible purchases at select shipping, food delivery, and retail subscription merchants, including the $155 Walmart Plus monthly membership credit and $240 flexible business credit. Enjoy the benefits of membership with the Amex Business Gold Card. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold Card. Built for business by American Express.
You know what's smart? Enjoying a fresh gourmet meal at home that you didn't have to cook. Meet Factor, your loophole in the laws of mealtime. Chef-crafted meals delivered with a tap, ready in just 2 minutes. You know what's even smarter? treating yourself without cheating your goals. Factor is dietitian approved, chef prepared, and you plated. Pretty smart, huh? Refresh your routine and eat smart with Factor. Learn more at factormeals.com.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Buff, what happened to your name?
You broke it.
You broke his name?
Oh, you know what? I didn't change it like I usually do.
How could you?
It usually says Buff.
I'm going to change it back next time.
How dare you? Well, I got a good joke.
Let me be the judge of that.
I would never buy anything with Velcro because it's a total ripoff. He didn't know the joke either.
Very well.
It was not the first time in all the times that I've been here that I've actually remembered to get the joke. And I remembered to get the joke, so he didn't know it either.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Well, I didn't have a chance to think about it. You just, but you know.
Well, if I let you guess it, then it's...
Yeah, she don't want us to guess it.
He's not giving you time anymore.
Then it's like, that's how jokes work. Well, who wants to go first? I got one I want to do.
Okay. You want to go first then?
Oh, sure. Because this was bothering me. I don't think we've talked about this before. We maybe kind of hinted around this subject. But I saw a post, and I don't agree with the statistics. Well, I'll let y'all figure it out. So I saw this post the other day, and it reads, God dang it. I just lost my post. If a man abandons his kids, it's 90% of the mother's fault. Kwabena says that he is a Ghanaian musician, guitarist. So I wanted to get your guys' thought on, is there ever a reason for somebody just to, I guess, stop?
Not saying they should, but I don't want to word that. I understand they still shouldn't do it, but in those instances where the child's mother is being unreasonably difficult, and any type of interaction resolves in arguing, just non-peacefulness, and just every effort that you ever try is pretty much repelled. Yeah, exactly. Then again, you should always fight to the bitter end to be in your child's life, no matter what. But hey, I've never had to deal with that. I don't know what capacity I could deal with in total. So it's easy for me to say that, and it sounds good. But I'm sure there are some instances where men are like, you know what? I'll try to reach out to him when he's of age, and I don't have to go through her.
And should there be any ramifications on or consequences for I'm not just saying mother, because it could be the reverse. The parent who has the kid, the custodial parent, for blocking or making a relationship with the child more difficult. Should they be held responsible for that?
I think so. I mean, it's why are they keeping them away, right? And I get it. Sometimes it's, hey, you're not paying your child support, so you're not getting a kid, right? Or it could be, hey, you were abusive to me, you're not going to be around my child without me there, type thing, right? And so, or our child, I don't trust you to be around our child without somebody there because you were abusive to me or whatever. I didn't send you to jail, but you're not going to be around this kid. So I think the custodial parent does have a little bit of onus on whether that other person can be in the life wholly, right? Without supervision, that type of thing. But to your initial question, I don't think there's ever a point that you should stop. Like you said, Buff, if I gotta go to court and say, hey, what are my visitation days? When are they gonna be? And hold you accountable, whatever, you should be working to be in that child's life, right? It's your child. You should be in that child's life. And I kind of see where that thread or that post is going. I definitely agree that 90% is way too high. That there's no way that 90% of the onus or the problem is on the father or the non-custodial parent for not wanting to see the child or not being in the child's life. Or the custodial parent is what he said. It's on the mother, right? Yeah. It's on that's stupid. Yeah. I mean, that's just 100% dumb. So no, I don't think it's that. Women will allow a lot of stuff and still let those guys in their lives. They will. They might make it hell. They might make it annoying, but they'll let them in the life, right? And so I don't agree that 90% of it's their fault. I just don't. I mean, because a lot of times there is something that guy is doing or not doing.
And the reason I think you should fight like hell is because who determines, if how unreasonable she's doing? Like, there could be some guys that if the baby mom says, oh, you can't come by at 6, can you come by at 8 instead? And guys be like, I tried. I can't do it. You know what I mean? So you definitely should always try. And like you say, Razi, 90% seems made up.
100% dumb.
It seems made up.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's how we make up numbers and surveys and all this stuff. But because 80% of the time, no, I agree. And to a certain extent with both of you guys, yeah, you should try as much as possible. But at the end of the day, people are still human. Like, you have to protect your. This is the only thing in the world that there's no excuse for saying I can't do this anymore. I can't deal with this situation anymore. Your job, marriages, school, like every other thing you can I can't. And you got to think we're assuming that everybody's mentally stable, not like in a bad way, like that you're talking about abusive. I'm just like, at a certain point, I got to have my own peace. Like, we move on. I'm married with a household, and this is still bringing turmoil to my household, where every time I talk to my ex-wife or my, the baby mama or baby daddy, depends on who has custody of kids, there is a whole other situation that brings disruption to my house. And this is a situation that happened 10 years ago. So I don't want to abandon my kids. It's not that you want to abandon your kids, but I can't continue down this path because it's hurting everything else. Now it's unfair to the wife and kids I have now. Right? Now it's poison in this relationship. And well, you should have thought about that before you laid down with somebody. I don't think I can say 99% of the time when I lay down with somebody, I'm saying like, okay, I hope this works out and we don't have kids. And if it doesn't work out, that she's going to be a great baby mama. And let's be real. Let's talk about the way life really is. And rather than the way it's supposed to be, a lot of times it's like, he might want to be there. And I'm not just putting it all on her, or whoever the custodial parent is. I think you have to say at a certain point, people have to protect their inner peace too. And are you being reasonable? You just say take them to court, but then there's still people that just make, court. We know the justice system when it comes to that, it caters to the woman, it protects the woman. So she can create very elaborate stories that changes the whole dialogue. It's going to change everything. Even that he might be an abusive person to her, but because in some of these cases they might have been in a abusive relationship.
Yeah, she
hit him just as much as he hit her. But now I'm not gonna let you see the kid because you're abusive. No, you likes to fight. And the thing about it is, my kid don't call me out of my name. My kid doesn't do this. There's no reason for me to snap because I've been married going on 11 years. The argument me and my wife have, I can never see me and my kids having that same energy or, like passion when it comes to arguing or whatever the case may be. So I would never hit my wife, but I would never argue with my kids with the same passion I argue with my wife. Like you can't, you can't say he did this and now he's a bad person when it comes to everybody around him. Me and you just don't mesh. Like you bring out the worst in me. Like this is dynamic. And that's the reason like when we get around each other, we argue in front of kids anyway, and we can't do this. And it's how do you separate our relationship and the way we interact as from how I parent the kids? Because you want to co-parent, but of course, as the custodial parent, you have more say over certain things, and child support. I don't even think, he doesn't pay child support. Who's taking him to court? Garnish his wages. Still let him see the kids. Because we're always talking about the kids are the ones that's suffering. Still allow the parent in the life, and you work that out with the court. That's when the court should come into play. Don't stop him from seeing his kid because he didn't give you $327 this month. Now you're justifying why he can't see the kid. Your dad is shit. Your daddy ain't shit. That's irrelevant. If he's going to be a parent and he wants a parent, let him parent. If he doesn't want to pay, you take it through the right channels for him to pay. Like those are paying and being a parent are two different things.
I like that.
And you go through the right channels.
That's hard for people to wrap their heads around, though. Because
because
if we were still together and I didn't have a job, or I couldn't, I could be like, we ain't doing it. We eating oodles and noodles this week or this month, right? Because I'm not getting hours, blah 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 blah. You can't do that when we're separated. I still got to pay this money no matter what, right? I still got to try to live no matter what. And I agree there. It's like, don't hold the child as hostage for some money.
The child's relationship to that other parent hostage. Mm-hmm. And the word, but you're the one that said it. Like, it's like we're so conditioned that like you have to meet all these standards to parent. It's like, no, I just want to parent. We can work the finances out later. Like we can work on like, because you got to think, especially in these Tyler Perry movies, like dad might be in between jobs. He just got out of jail. He's trying to get back on his feet, but he can't pay child support. He went to jail because you sent him to, he wasn't paying child support and all this stuff. And now he can't see the kid. Those are the things, you say the custodial parent. A lot of times custodial parents try to leave the city, leave the state, like you still have all this autonomy of what you can do with a kid. Going back to, what was the movie? Best Man, Last Dance, whatever it was. When old girl wanted to move to
the final
Ghana,
chapters.
Same thing.
Yeah.
When she was trying to move to Ghana, Nigeria, freaking the moon, whatever. It's like, this man is still, y'all didn't work out. He's still trying to parent. But you're going to do what's best for you. Because you need to protect your peace. You need to do all the stuff that's best for you. Like, maybe I'm an asshole. Maybe that spoiled the whole movie for me, the series for me. Because I wanted him to fight.
I did too.
Yeah.
I wanted him to fight. I didn't want that to be like, no. And just to be the bigger person. Like, let's talk about equality, equity. Like, look, I can't stop doing certain things, so neither can you. Like, my child needs to be around me. We need to figure this out. There needs to be co-parenting then. Like, that child, you can't move to Ghana. You can move to, California, and she'll be with you one year, me the next. We got to figure this out. Something has to give. But, no, that's neither here nor there.
Good question, though.
So...
Without a clear answer.
Yeah,
that's the problem. There's no clear answer to it.
Because... But no, it's the comments where it got to me. It was there's never an excuse and all this stuff, and he should have thought about that before he laid down. Like, y'all make all these, excuse. And there was some people like, well, if he had the freaking qualities of deadbeat, she should have thought about that before she laid down with him. As well. That goes back to our question we had a few weeks ago. About. Child support and abortions and all that stuff. So, who's up next?
Doesn't matter. I can go. Razi, you can go.
You can go.
Don't matter.
Yeah.
I think Razi had one he wanted.
Nah, I mean, mine's a little serious,
Okay,
so I mean, we have a little bit more fun with yours. That'd be good.
I don't know how much fun this is. Basically, what is toxic masculinity, and is that term overused?
Flip it. Yes, it's overused, but I do think there is a thing as toxic masculinity. I think toxic masculinity or hyper masculinity may be kind of the same thing. I feel like it's when folks feel like being a man gives them certain privileges that they can run over other people, right? Like, I'm the man, so I can tell you what to do and I can do something different. I'm the man, so I can step out, but you can't, right? I'm gonna cheat on you, but you can't cheat on me. Toxic masculinity is, you can't go out and have a good paying job if it inconveniences me, right? It's all about that guy, the males, and that mentality of them feeling like they get privileges, right? Same thing we talk about white privilege, right? I think that's what that toxic masculinity is. That idea that male, I guess privilege, probably the best, male privilege exists and they want to keep it. That's really what I look at from a toxic masculinity thing. They buy into that. That's probably the easiest and simplest way. I'll probably think of some other stuff once Ferg kind of gives this in there, but yeah, I'll just kind of leave it at that.
I like how you explain it. I would have never thought about that. I would have never linked toxic masculinity to male privilege. I think it's more so of a perceived like caricature or a stereotype of what we perceive what men should be. So all the things that we heard all the time, it's like an amalgamation of like, this is what men are supposed to do. The club, go out with a club, hit women over the club head. You're the provider. You're all these things. You're trying to live up to these ideals that put you as, they put being a man before being a person. So we don't identify as like we're all humans. We identify more so as, here are the characteristics I need to portray to be considered what the world or society deems a man. But if it's multiple women and all this stuff, it's just like, it's all these things, because your sexuality. Can you be hyper masculine or toxic masculinity? You're like, if you're gay, because all of a sudden you're not this man's man. Like, you can have all the same, like, I'm a man, I should be still fed first and yada yada, but you're not toxic masculinity because there's still these parts of you that don't fit this. You're checking the box of what society deems men are supposed to be.
But to that, I mean, most of those check boxes you're talking about wouldn't be considered toxic. If you are being a provider, right? If you are providing a safe space, if you are going out and working, if you are excelling in your job, those things don't make you toxic. So like being that quintessential man isn't the toxic masculinity part. I always look at it as, it's those guys that's like, women got to be in the kitchen and all of this and that. Like, that part of it is when I start thinking about the toxic side of it.
Because as my role as a man is to be a provider and a protector, because a woman can do all that. It's adulting and being a provider and a protector and a partnership and a relationship. Like, that doesn't make you a man. Those are the things that make you a freaking responsible adult. So those are my things. Like, we want to associate those traits with men, and those things become toxic because she needs to be, if I'm doing this, she needs to be in the kitchen cooking, cleaning, stuff like that. It's like, dog, why can't we both just be providers, protectors, all the same things? Why can't we just be equal in how we divvy out chores? Now, like, hey, if you're better at providing and protecting, that's fine. you know, but it's like, these are these roles. Like, even when you explain, it's like, I understand where the passion comes from. It's like, as a man, that's what I'm supposed to do. It's like, you know,
yeah,
women can do the same thing.
Yeah, and that's why I was talking about the whole privilege, or the whole I got to do it because I'm a man, you got to do this because you're a woman type thing. It's really that, right? It's that when you take it up that one notch to where I'm the only person that can do it. You do those things, I do those things, and you know, I'm gonna hold you down to get my stuff that I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, and you can do all this stuff because you're a good person. I think when you put the qualities that put your gender or gender roles above being just a good person and a human being who, especially in relationships that works towards building a established and successful relationship, those are the things that are toxic. It's like, here are the defined roles because society told me. Because, like, you know, if you were a woman and you had the banking knowledge that you had, the financial knowledge, but your husband's like, I'm gonna handle the money. It's like, no, nigga, this is what I get paid to do. Like, this is but as a man, you feel like you're supposed to do this. And it's like, and we talk about that sometimes, like, this is what we do, this is what I do. And we're all kind of, once again, I'm probably 22% toxic. You know, we're going back to, you know, that conversation we had, like, about the isms. It's like, it's okay if you're less, I'm toxic light. Like, we're probably all somewhat toxic because we in our minds, we have defined roles of how we want the women in the world to move around us. That's just because we're all human and we're biased. But, you know, if somebody denies us those roles, it's a problem.
Yeah. So,
you know?
So with that being said, on the flip side, is there such thing as toxic femininity? These women talking about the whole, I'm in my soft life, da-da-da-da-da, I'm ready to get taken care of, yada, yada, yada. My man needs to make 6 figures, be 6 foot tall, blah, 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 blah. Is that toxic femininity?
If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. If a man can do it, like, it's all the same to me. Like, it's the things that we can't say. But that's a whole nother discussion. I feel like Byron's, like, head is just, he's vibing. He's about to give us a real answer.
Well, I definitely think it's overused. I think a lot of the stuff that Razi described, a lot of times it's just a selfish person. That's like, it's not necessarily like just pinned to just masculinity. It's just people have selfish ways. They're lazy. They don't want to do certain things and feel like the other person should do it. I also think toxic masculinity negatively affects men more than women, or just as much as women, because I feel like it's a lot of male stereotypes that we have learned to be harmful to us. Don't show emotions. Don't cry. Don't tell your son you love them. What are you going to therapy for? Man, walk that off. You ain't got time to cry. Go out there and work. Like, all this stuff that we've been taught to suppress over the years and things like that affects us to where, you know, we're harming ourselves. Like, we talked about the rise in black male suicides and things like that. So I think it harms us. It definitely harms women, because when you suppress a lot of those feelings, if you're not harming yourself, then you're harming who's near to you, which is usually your spouse or significant other, in a physical manner. But I think it's overused. I think it's almost become to the point to now, if a woman disagrees with you on something, it's because you're toxic masculinity.
It's a new racist.
Yeah.
It's a new racist. You know, if you can't describe it any better, and it's the race card. It's funny you brought this up, because I actually had this pinned as a question, somewhat of a question. My last visit, not this past one, probably 2 weeks ago when I went to the barber, there was this guy, I guess he was a promoter, and 2 young guys who are rappers. They were in there, they were talking about something very similar, and they were talking about how black men are so messed up because we need more men, and the problem is 80% of y'all niggas out here got y'all game from a woman, and so, you know, they need more. And I'm like, but you just assume that the men are the solution to the problem, because the same thing we're saying is, because if I grew up not recognizing or not knowing anything outside of, let's replace the word toxic masculinity with this being a man for dummies. Like, it's just a checklist of what men are supposed to do. We're just going to keep passing on the same traits and characteristics, you know. Oh, man, how many girlfriends you got, nephew? Like, when I was growing up, like, we were expected to have multiple girlfriends. You're teaching me from a young age to be misogynistic and to be, like, not to believe in monogamy. When we're growing, not even the less harmful things about, and Razi, you might have been a little different because you had a bunch of sisters around and your parents, your mama just made you do whatever. But the fact that when we're growing up, a lot of guys couldn't watch younger kids, especially young girls. Like, they just assume, like, you're a 12-year-old boy, you can't be watching these your little 4-year-old cousin. Why? Because, like, you think I'm a pedophile? So guys aren't taught to be natural nurturers because for the majority of our life, we're not around to be. The first kids you probably were allowed to be around were your own kids. Mm-hmm. Like, you couldn't watch anybody.
You couldn't babysit.
Shelly and them could watch them.
Yeah, you couldn't.
Yeah, Shelly
and them could watch baby dolls. Like, you couldn't play house.
So the world taught me not to be a nurturer and all this stuff. And then, like, man, women are so, yeah, because you told me I had my first child at 34? So for 34 years, I was taught not to be a nurturer. You know, I think we had this discussion years ago. Like, you know, even like the younger, if you look at really young education, there's no real young male teachers. You probably don't see male teachers around that much unless they teach like music or art, something like that, until probably middle school. Because you're not allowed to be around young kids, as if every man is a freaking pedophile. Like, that's how society works. You know, guys don't work at daycares. You know, no man can change your 2-year-old daughter's diaper. And so I say all to say, like, we're taught there's this checklist of male traits that we're just taught. And the fact that we just think more men are the only thing they're going to do is continue to teach these traits, the same thing they were taught. And until we change and acknowledge, like, dog, you know, what's a good human, first of all? What are the expectations? You know, I've known you guys damn over half my life. I don't think any one of you guys are a pedophile. So my thing is, you should be able to watch a young child. You know, no more than any woman I know. Like, and I've known you longer than damn near any women I've known. But they'll let a freaking random chick babysit. They'll get somebody off of what's a
Care.com and all that.
Yeah, they'll get a stranger. You know, think about all these daycare things and people mistreating kids, and maybe you're not a pedophile, but men temper, they don't know how to deal with kids, their anger, their attention span's too short. Well, probably because I never had to deal with them. If I would have started dealing with them when I was 8, maybe, you know. So toxic masculinity is just unfortunately, we're victims of, there's levels to it, but for the most part, it's just, you can't escape it. It's very hard to escape.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I mean, there is a such thing as toxic masculinity. I think, but, you know, same way there's a such thing as racism, but it's everything isn't racist, right? Some things it's just, you know, we talk about stereotypes and those types of things, stereotypical versus being racist and that type. I think that's what it is. Like, there has to be a certain level of that person trying to hold somebody else down, belittle somebody else, prop themselves up. That's when I feel like it becomes that toxic masculinity piece versus, like you said, this is society, and as much as we want equality in society, there is a little bit of men still have some social roles versus women having social roles, expectations and stuff like that. So that's the problem, I think, with it, is so many people want to slap that label of toxic masculinity on there, but there's this sliding scale. You want me to be a little bit masculine, but not too much masculine, right? And it's like where's that limit, right? And it's different for every woman.
But you remember, I always talk about, like, nobody ever wants to be villainized. So because you use the term toxic masculinity, you can't address the issues, just like you can't address race because everything is associated with racism. We can't, you know, it could be not something harmless, but an example might have been like, you know what, love is love, yada, 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 but I want my kids marrying black. you might say that, but I don't want my kids bringing home anybody outside of the race. That might be your 7% of your, which I'm out of my 12% races, but there's no other term we can use. And so if we're using the word racist, okay, you're 12% racist. You might be 12% toxic, because the same level, like, I feel like a man should still be the provider and protector, because you're subscribing to the stereotypes and whatever that usually probably benefits you and what makes you comfortable, and you don't want to challenge it. And that's fine. But you're going to fight it like, I'm not toxic, because now you fall in the same level as every other toxic. You fall in the same level
Kevin
as Donald
Samuels
Trump.
And the Hoteps.
All of it, like, because you're trying to distance yourself so far. So instead of hearing the things that might be offensive or challenging to somebody else, they want to talk about it. He's like, we can't talk about that, because you're not about to lump me in with the Kevin Samuels, the Donald Trumps, and all the other guys,
Andrew Tate.
And, so, good question.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and close it out, Razi.
So good, so good, so good.
Get ready, because it's time to save at your Nordstrom Rack store. Now through February 23rd, take an extra 40% off red tag clearance boots, jackets, and sweaters. We're talking the best cold weather styles from Vince, Cole Haan, Sam Edelman, and more. All on sale for even less. All sales final. You never know what you'll find, but you know it's gonna be so good. Great brands, great prices. That's why you rack.
Every cup of Nespresso coffee is an invitation to transform your morning routine into a ritual you can treasure each and every day. Using the Virtuo Pop, a simple touch of the button freshly brews bold aromas and a rich, velvety crema layer for delicious cafe-quality coffee at home. Whether you enjoy your coffee hot or over ice, every sip, every morning is unforgettable. Nothing tastes like Nespresso coffee. Visit Nespresso.com or our app to explore our full range of easy-to-use machines and coffees not found anywhere else.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. From your morning podcast to your afternoon playlist, State Farm knows you personalize your entire day, and that's why State Farm helps you personalize your insurance with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. It offers coverage options that help protect what you care about most at an affordable price just for you. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
Only thing I got, man. Yeah, I want to shout out some firefighters up in, I think it was up in Pittsburgh. A family's house was burning down. They got the family out, and the teenagers, they had tickets to go see Taylor Swift the next day, and the girl was just bawling about like her dress or whatever, and the firefighter went back in the house, grabbed the dress and some of the kids' clothes or whatever, and got it out. The fire department said, hey, it was safe enough for them to do that. They wanted to make that kid's day, that type of thing. And so that's what the firefighter did. So I want to shout out to that firefighter. I don't know if I would have done it, which is why I want to shout you out for going back in a burning building to get a dress for a kid to make their day and make them feel whole. The rest of the house burned down. They ain't getting nothing else, but she got that dress and she was able to go to Taylor Swift concert in her dress that, she had made a big deal about. So I just want to shout them out. Good job on, going the extra mile, because wouldn't have been me. That's all I can say.
Yeah. So if this story would have ended differently and a firefighter would have lost her life because they went in, it would have been the same. That's that submersible stuff. I'm gonna start calling it submersible stuff. that is submersible thought process or thinking.
That's all you got, Razi?
That's all I got, man.
Well, shout out to Inspire You on Air, the new Beat of the Bay. Thank you guys as always for tuning in. Be sure to tell other people to download the app for free. Check us out every Monday at 10 p.m. Central, 11 Eastern. I mentioned Father's Day at the top of the show. I want to bring it up one more time and give a shout out to my wife, who has, I see a lot of posts on social media where guys say, we're never shown love, or like how they get crappy Father's Day gifts or no gifts at all and no acknowledgement, or you're only you're only loved for what you can do. However they word that post that goes around all the time. Like, men are only loved for what they can provide or something like that. I don't know that. I don't know nothing about that. My woman, she comes through, and she came through again on Father's Day. So I just want to shout out you, Tabitha. You really made me feel special on Father's Day, and you've been knocking it out the park the last few years. So just wanted to mention that. And also, last but not least, tell people, visit 3brothersnosense.com. Not only can you listen to the latest episode that we have each week, but there's always some good merch on there, and it's priced. It's a buyer's market. That's the way it's priced, man. I'm telling you, from shirts to hats, coffee mugs, we got you. And like, we got merch in there now. It doesn't just say 3 Brothers No Sense. You can go in there and get different shirts that have different sayings and things on there. So check us out. We got crop tops, sleeveless shirts, everything for men and women. So check that out, 3brothersnosense.com.
Well, belated happy Father's Day to all you guys, since we didn't really get to record since then. So, and to all the fathers out there, I definitely wanted to go out there and say that I want to give a shout out to my timeline. I did not see any of the traditional, what has become traditional back and forth about the single mother being recognized as a father. And I don't know if people have just gotten past that and just grown, or maybe I've, muted or unfollowed people, because I did start, downsizing who I connected with based off a certain post like that. So congrats to all the fathers out there. Happy Father's Day. Thank you, ladies, for, and kids for spoiling whoever you're honoring and all that stuff. Secondly, I am excited. Headed to Mobile this weekend. So by the time you hear this show, I'll be back in Houston, but heading to Mobile this weekend for the Hollis family reunion. So that is my grandmother's side of the family. My big cousin, Melvin Johnson, better known as Hooley from Truth Be Told Sports, will be out there. So that's the first time we've been in the same city like that in a while. Well, in Mobile in a while for something good. So I'm excited about that. So I'm just going to go ahead and close on out. Anything else, fellas?
That's it.
All righty. Once again, you're all invited to come to Houston, Juneteenth, 2024. I guarantee it'll be a hot one. Until then, don't wish me happy Juneteenth. 3 Brothers No Sense. Your favorite barbershop style podcast, 6 rules of podcast. Listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, listen again. Talk to you next week.